Tonight I'm going to do a meditation and tarot card reading for the complete solar eclipse that we've got coming through the United States on the 8th of April. A lot of talk is about this eclipse being a new beginning, and not just a typical new beginning that comes from the new moon, but a new wave of opportunity. For any surfers out there, anybody who's ever tried to ride a wave, you can wait for hours to get that one wave that you can ride all the way into the shore. And that is very much what this eclipse is going to be. It's going to be an opportunity to grab this massive, once-in-a-lifetime wave that you can ride into something new. So I wanted to do a card reading, and I've got the Mirror Truth cards, and I've also got the Lightworker Oracle. And I'm going to start the reading by opening up a sacred circle. Settling into my body. I call in the powers of the north, of earth, the planet and animal kingdom. I call in the powers of the south, of water, of emotion, that flow of life. I call in the powers of the west, of the gusts of air and wind, intellect and wisdom. I call in the powers of the east, of fire and passion, action, motion. I call in the powers of the above, angels, archangels, beings of light here to help with the ascension of the planet and the growth of the humans. I call on the powers of the south, of the below, Mother Earth. I call on Gaia, whose unconditional love holds us in this space. And I link all of these powers to the within, to my higher self, the prestige lineage line, ancestors both past and future. I call on all of our guides, all the ascended masters and beings of light that wish to be in this circle at this time. I ask Archangel Michael to create a golden bubble around this space and this time, to ensure that only messages for our highest good can come through. And so it is. We ask on this day for guidance to help us catch this wave, this opportunity of 8 April 2024. And immediately a card jumped out of the deck. The card of flowers, which, if you're familiar with the Mirror of Truth Lenormand card, flowers is a card of heart. And it also comes with the number 9, which is the completion of a journey, the completion of a lesson. It's almost like taking a graduate course in school. 9 is your final exam. It's reaching the completion. And in this case, it's the completion of a heart lesson. So we're going to put that card in the center and make that the heart of our drawing. And with the Lenormand cards, we're going to draw 3 cards to show the past, 3 cards for the present, including the center, which will be that flower card, and then 3 cards for the future. So the 3 cards for the past. We've got up in the top left corner the sun. The sun speaks of exposure. Inside of the sun is the wheels of a machine, exposing the machine of our civilization, exposing the symptomatic and systematic things that we have put in place over centuries, and it almost looks like the sun is bleeding. When you hold anything under a light for too long, it burns, and that's very much what the systems and processes, procedures, even the government structures that we've put in place are doing. And that's not just for the United States, that's globally. With the advent of the internet and the amount of information that's available for us, everything is held under this microscope. And what we have built as humans over centuries, and the sun also has a clock inside of it, over these centuries of time, these structures that we've put in place, these foundations that we've laid, they're corrupt and they're crumbling. Then the more light and the more pressure we put on those structures, the more they will crumble. And that is the cornerstone of this reading, is this crumbling of foundations, this sun. Underneath the sun is the dog. And this is also the number 9. So the number 9 dog is next to the number 9 flowers. The dog speaks of companionship, of silent support is the words that I'm hearing. This feels like the guides that have been watching and standing with us for so long. We stare at the sun because it's so overwhelmingly bright, and it's bringing so much attention to hell, the sun is the reality show. It's the reality show that's become our world. But underneath that reality show, that thing that's drawing our attention so much, is this master guidance that's just sitting silently next to us with unconditional love. If you think about that structure of the animal kingdom for the dogs, they are unconditionally loving. It's such a commonly joked about and talked about trait for them, but that is what we have in our lives right now. Those people who are listening to this message, or who are seeking spiritual guidance of any sort, we cannot not see the sun burning away. We cannot miss the corruption and the demolishing of these structures. We can't help but feel the time that these structures were created for is past. But we also have this wonderful ability to feel the unconditional love of a presence, of our guides, of our ancestors, of beings of light who are just with us, underneath us, and saying, all right, you see this sun spinning, but this is happening for a reason. and you are loved. The last card of the past is the Storks card. And in this card, there are two storks flying over their new life, their babies. So it's very interesting. It's speaking of our past in terms of really giant shifts, global shifts, physical shifts, shifts in the landscape, shifts in the government. And it is talking of our hearts really being tethered to this place of unconditional love with this dog. And at the same time, through all of that turbulence that's going on with the sun and that unconditional love, there's new life that's being born silently, without need for praise or requests for acknowledgement. New life has been born recently through all of these struggles, and because of that strong tethering we feel to that unconditional love. Spirituality is like a superpower. While so much of the world focuses on that sun card, on that turbulence, on that reality show, we are grounded. We are aware that we are loved, unconditionally loved, and that what's happening up on the surface of the 3D is not our reality. And because of that tethering, we have been able to create new life in this beautiful place of silence. So the cards of the past are very much talking about this polarity of our realities. So if we look at the cards of the present, the three cards in the center, next to the sun card is the book. And it's interesting, the book usually talks about intellect and wisdom, but it looks a lot like the sun card. It looks like the book is on fire, and that there are birds flying from the book, just like there are birds flying around the fire. Both are fire cards. So this is talking about the shedding of structural knowledge. If you look at the sun, the inside of the sun, those mechanisms, we have been fed information and knowledge that is no longer valid at this time. It is no longer true. It is no longer necessary. And it is information that we can purge from ourselves. And in the present, that's something we're doing. We're constantly questioning, is what we're being told, is what we have read, is what we know true or not true? And the interesting thing with truth that I think a lot of people aren't willing to recognize is true is not something that it's not set in stone. Things that we believed yesterday, we don't have to believe tomorrow. And neither time were we wrong. We believed something at the time and we believe something tomorrow. It's good to seek. We need to seek. We need to constantly question what we believe. Because in this human life, we're meant to evolve. That's really what this shedding, this burning book reminds me of, is this constant evolution of knowledge. We don't stop evolving as humans. We're not meant to stop evolving as humans. Otherwise, we wouldn't come here. So right below that book, that shedding of knowledge, shedding of beliefs, shedding of certainty, is the flowers. So it's all coming back to that heart. And in the center of this 9-card spread is that flowers card, that heart. And it's the only heart card on the deck too. So we have that fire of the books, that fire of wisdom that's getting grounded into the heart space. In the present, we're able to no longer think with our heads, but start to think with our hearts and understand the wisdom that comes with that, and allow all of that information that we've absorbed over this time to be purged away, and start thinking with empathy, with great empathy, and start to judge our wisdom from a heart space and from a wise heart space. Again, that number 9, that completion, the wisdom of heart, a completed heart cycle. The last present card is the moon, which again on the 8th of April, it's a new moon and a full solar eclipse. The moon also has a clock inside of it, just like the sun had a clock. But this clock appears to be marble, stone, versus the pieces and puzzles of the inside of a clock, which the sun showed. The moon also has this beautiful dragon growing up behind of it, talking about possibilities, talking about expansion, magic of growth, of illusion. So it's almost the difference, what I'm seeing between the book and the moon with the heart in the base of it. It's like this battle of the 3D versus the other type of knowledge. I can't even say 4 or 5D because those aren't even applicable anymore. It's, where do you get your truth? Who are you? Who are you really? It's that constant questioning of the moon. When you look at the moon and you feel that sense of wonder, that wonder of travel, the wonder of astrology, the wonder of astronomy, the wonder of light beings and source, and every time you look at that moon and feel that sense of other, and then you look at a book on the other side and you feel that sense of being grounded into someone else's truth, because that's truly what a book is. It's something written from someone else's perspective. In the present, we're being given the opportunity to choose between the knowledge that has been printed and put in front of us and that sense of wonder and heart that we get from looking at the moon. Instead of getting information from the books that we have relied on for thousands of years, getting information from our connection to source. That's a really powerful message for the present. That's not even some future aspiration. That's what the cards are saying is here and happening right now. And it comes from that heart. If you to go within and ask from a heart space, focus your attention on your heart and ask if the information you're reading feels right or not. If you are to look at the moon and ask a question and feel from your heart what the answer is, the wisdom that comes from feeling through your answers versus taking them from books or taking them from logic is going to lead to some profound effects, which takes us to the cards of the future. The first card next to, again, the sun, the book, and your top level is the Tower. And the Tower in this deck is not exactly like the Tower in traditional tarot, which talks about a great disruption, a great breaking apart of a great disturbance. It's not necessarily that same card. However, in this point, it is It's the dissolving of those foundations. It's the dissolving of all that 3D shit. And I have to say shit, it's the only word that works in this case. It's a card of, it looks like a city, a giant city, maybe Manhattan. And the farther away you look, the more indistinct the buildings become. So you've got the sun, which is drawing that magnifying glass onto the structures of the world that have been built for centuries. You've got the book, which is saying, burn away the information that you have learned, that you have been told to learn, and only maintain what feels right for you based on a heart space, based on your higher connection to source. And it is going to dissolve the structures of your world. The great unfeathering of your nest in order to let you fly. Part of choosing the waves when you're out on the surf is courage. It's that feeling. Is this the right one? Will this feel right? And it's that instant moment of yes or no. Should I chase it or should I let it go? If you chase this wave, it is going to dissolve your structures. And the next card underneath that is the anchor. It's going to not only dissolve the structures of your world, those 3D structures, it's going to unshackle you. We are all going to find new connections to the animal kingdom. We're going to find new connections to nature. Connections that have always been there, of course, but that we haven't been able to feel because we've been in this wonderful concrete prison of structured knowledge and structured thinking and learning and leadership. The tower, that dissolving of this city, followed by underneath it the anchor, which is sitting at the bottom of the ocean with no rope attached to it, giving us that insight and that ability to see where we were, but no longer feeling attached to it, no longer held down by it. And again, it's the number 9. So across the center of this cards, we have the dog, that unconditional love. We have the flowers, and then we have the anchor. All 3 are number 9s, right across the center of this card deck. And underneath the anchor is the stars. That connection to source, that connection to others. The bottom row of this deck is the storks, which is that quiet new life. The moon, that sense of wonderment and connection and growth into the divine. And then the stars, the connection to other, that connection to who you truly are. The shift, it's very interesting, this drawing, the top row, it's dealt in a 9-card spread. 3 down to the left, 3 down the center, and 3 down to the right. What is hanging over our heads, what is so present in our minds right now, is that 3D illusion. That's that top row of this drawing, the sun, the book, and the tower. They feel so real. They feel so all-encompassing. We feel like we have to be present in this chaos of structure, this constant striving to understand what we're told to understand, believe what we're told to believe, hear what we're made to hear, and this city structure of squares and you can only have this much space, and there's only so much money, and there's only so much supplies, and everything is limited, and it's us versus them. That hovering over our head has been something we've been dealing with for a very long time now, although it feels like it's coming to a culmination, and that's because it is. Because now we're being asked to question if that is how we want to continue. That's the wave. Do we want to grab this new wave, or do we want to continue along with the structure? If we decide to catch the wave, we're going to have to dissolve a lot of what we have held to be true. Luckily, underneath all of that chaos is this beautiful sense of light, this guardian of the dog, the flowers showing this heart growth and evolution that we've had, and then in the future, taking that heart-based wisdom and that unconditional love that is coming from our guides and allowing us to be detached and disentangled from those lives, from that false truth that's constantly, it's like this brown haze of schmuck just circling around our heads at all time. The more grounded into heart we become, the more open to unconditional love, the more we can become detached from that reality. Because that reality is its own little shelf of schmuck. It is not our reality. And underneath that heart-based love and guidance and that becoming detached is the new creation of what we are building as spiritual buildings, that quiet growth and evolution that we have been doing for decades. While all of this reality TV show drama is going on, we have still managed to create and evolve and really go within ourselves. And that is giving us the opportunity at this time to reach out to Source and to evolve into this dragon, to bring on these new gifts. It's the time currently to expand, leading to a future of the stars, which is this more heavily connected, this more fully connected, constantly connected to Source. This, I feel like I cannot overemphasize the evolution that we have all been going through. This is a massive and traumatic amount of things going on, but because we are awake, we know we are not just these beings in the sun dealing with this structure and machinery and chaos and anger and polarity. We are stars. We are beings of light. And even in this physical forms, we are beings of heart. We are not physical and we are not fully light. We are this wonderful hybrid being that has the ability to be led by our hearts with the support and guidance of our ancestors, of our guides, of our soul groups, of the angels, of our companions here on the planet. We have the ability to create new life and shed these preconditioned notions of who and what we are. The number 9 is a big one for this, even though 8 April 2024 is a 2 day. It is a day of choices. You are the journeyer, and you can go right or you can go left. You can catch the wave or you can wait till the next one. But this is a massive, massive wave. It is going to allow you to shed and detach and connect in a way that has not been seen in this lifetime for many of us. With that being said, I want to thank spirits, the angels, the ascended masters, archangels, any beings of light who helped with this reading. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this beautiful message of light and love. Enjoy the eclipse. Be kind to each other and be open to change your mind, because your wisdom is coming from your heart. Light and love.